I think it was an abrupt awakening call on what happened. We have been talking about the need for strategic autonomy for quite some time. We've been investing in our defense capabilities. We signed a bilateral agreement with France, which includes a mutual assistance clause. So we've been big proponents of the EU being able to independently defend itself. And this is an investment that is complementary to NATO, because we shouldn't forget most EU member states are also members of NATO, but there are certain EU member states that are not members of NATO. So we need to send a clear signal that we're willing to defend our continent irrespective of our relationship with NATO. And that is why the reference in the conclusions to Article 42, Paragraph 7 of the treaty, in my mind, is so important. And of course, as we're going to spend more on defense, we also need to get to an understanding how we treat these defense expenditures in terms of our overall deficit calculations. This is an issue, again, I raised today. This discussion is starting at present. As you know, it's a big topic at the level of our ministers of finance. But Greece, for example, is a country that will significantly exceed the 2% threshold that has been set by NATO as the minimum defense expenditures. So if we want to spend more on European defense, we need to, A, make sure that this actually is done in a proper way, and B, make sure that it does not impose unnecessary burden on our fiscal position.
And should, therefore, the 2% target that currently NATO has be stepped up? Should that number change to something higher?
Well, first of all, most member states are not even there. So let's get to 2% first for those member states that are not there. And for those member states that are willing to spend much more than 2%, let us make sure that the additional spending over and above the 2% threshold does not count towards our deficit. This is my proposal, and I think it makes a lot of sense.
So ultimately, the former President of the United States, Donald Trump, was right.
In terms of what?
In terms of NATO spending.
In terms of NATO spending, yes, I think it was, as I told you, necessary to really, I think, shake up the alliance and make everyone aware that we need to spend more. But we also need to be smarter. And at the European level, we need to identify certain projects which are of common interest, where we could invest at the pan-European level and where all member states would benefit. Cyber would be a clear example. We all face similar challenges, so why not build up our resources at the European level? Then we can all use them in case of a cyber attack.
So therefore, are you worried that President Putin's next target is actually NATO, whether that's via cyber attacks?
Well, this is I don't know what President Putin's intentions are. What I do know is that he has been very successful in strengthening the alliance and in awakening the European Union out of its geopolitical funk. So in that sense, he has certainly succeeded in uniting us and in making us aware that defense and security are paramount obligations towards our citizens.
So